Hi, my name's Kyle Joachim. I'm the pastor at Silverlake Community Church in Los Angeles. Our church is one of these stuffy old mainline denomination churches that found a bunch of new life by discovering the overlap and the synergy between spiritual growth and emphasizing work in the community. And now when we think of verses like faith without works is dead, we're just like, duh, because we think there is no such thing as being a faithful body of believers in a place like where we live without being engaged in helping relieve suffering and making life better for people who are marginalized in our community. At our church, we say we exist to help people know and follow Jesus, a little bit of intentionally ambiguous language for people that are at different places on their journey. 2, we exist to serve the community, and 3, create opportunities for people to come together. I'll be honest, when you're working with the population that we do, you wind up having folks that show up on the campus that are having a real bad day. Like most days of the week are like a real bad day. Not all the time, maybe that's overselling it. But anyway, one of the things that we're doing with the micro grant money this year is that we're putting some good like therapy office furniture into what used to be my office in order to make it like a crisis care room. You might be like, does a church need a crisis care room? You know, it's like, yeah, we do every week. There's always someone who's coming down from something, or they're high on something, or they're in the throes of psychosis. Powerful, debilitating mental illness of some form, plus they're experiencing trauma from things that are happening on the street and dealing with all the stuff that it brings up in the past, and they're often victimized, and every week there's, man, I wish we had a space. And now we do, and we're really thankful for that. The other thing is that we're using it for is that we have a lot of food preparation each week. We heat up food for about 1,000 people every month, and we had kind of a dirty old dank kitchen, and Mana Crew came in and freshened up the whole space, replaced some of the tiles. It just doesn't look like a haunted house kitchen anymore, and all the volunteers already are like, oh, it's so much better in here. And volunteer morale is really important, and it just makes us feel like we care about ourselves and the people we're serving. I mean, to be honest, there's like so much cool stuff happening here. I get really excited about it. And this funny thing happens all the time when I start sort of reminiscing with the people who are in the inner circle and talking about the beginning of all this. They're like, yeah, remember when we came and we started this program? Remember when so-and-so did this? I'm like, actually, this whole thing kind of started with this church down in Orange County that gave us a big grant. Back in 2019, we were trying to decide what we're gonna do ministry-wise the church for some like revitalization. I was new and I'm like, we gotta do something to get some lifeblood in here. And around that time, I got the opportunity to apply for a Mana grant. And when I got to the line, we're like, what do you wanna use this for? I was like, well, I guess this is where I choose homelessness. And so I was like, let's do homelessness. And specifically, I had learned that a shower program was what we really needed. So I asked for money for a shower. And that kicked off our Saturday homeless drop-in. And the showers that happened as a part of that, which was like the beginning of so much of the stuff that happens here on the campus and the reputation that happens here. And all like so much of the recovery here is connected to the fact that we exist and are able to do this because of the shower program. Anyway. But there's a specific example of the impact that grant had. So we start doing showers, we start having this Saturday program, and there's this one individual that starts coming, always intoxicated, always in a bad mood, having the worst day of his life every Saturday. But we're just loving him every week, and he's coming for the showers. And right when the pandemic hit, he was like, I can't even, I'm not coming back. Long story short, the volunteers that he met here kept up with him. And the next time I saw him was a year later at Easter, when the volunteers had shepherded this guy into permanent supportive housing, and he shows up on our doorstep. I didn't even recognize him. You know, I could understand what he was saying. He didn't look like he was, from a dystopian future novel. And he was just such a bright star all of a sudden, But now you'd be like, oh, that's a good success story of like a social program. It's like, no, then this guy gets involved in the congregation and becomes a member of the congregation. He's like, now he does setup every Sunday morning for us, and like everybody knows him, and he volunteers now at all the programs here on the campus. But he also, this coming Sunday, he's gonna be singing a Johnny Cash song in the service as part of like the whole thing. And it's not exaggerating to say that the beauty of this person's presence in the midst of us and the redemption and the testimony that it is to the kind of work that we do here, like it goes all the way back to that manna grant. Because if we hadn't got that grant, we probably would have done something different, probably not homelessness. And then we never would have met this guy, and all the stuff that has unfolded with this person. And so you guys met some of the other people here today. I could tell you stories on like everybody that we met. And anyone who does this work knows that as soon as you dip your toes into serving people in the name of Jesus without expectations, all of a sudden these relationships are just... So anyway, yeah, I'm so thankful to Manna.